If you're anything like us, you know travel days are pretty busy. There's a lot of prep work to get ready to travel. And there's a lot of setup work once you get to a new site, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Darling, everything's gonna be alright. I see that you've been crying, but you know I'm always on your side. Oh, oh.
Now, one of the issues that Dina and I have when we get to a new site is I take care of all the outside stuff, hooking up electric, water, sewer hoses, while Dina's on the inside, getting the inside all prepped and things ready to go in there. A little problem with that though is in order for me to hook up the sewer hoses, I have to crawl underneath this slide on my hands and knees and get that hooked up. It's kind of a pain in the neck. It's not like you can't do it, but it's just more of a pain. You have a tendency to hit your head underneath the slide and things like that. So I prefer to have the slides in while I hook up the sewer hoses. Now the problem with that is if the slides are in, Dina really can't get into the RV and start getting any of her prep work done. So I want to show you a way to resolve that. We'll keep one slide in, let the other slide go out so Dina can get in. And we're also going to talk today about what to do if you're getting ready to leave, you're getting ready for your next travel day, you have no power. How do you get both of these slides back in so you can travel? Before we get into the steps on how we're going to do this, I want to make sure you understand that this is for our RV. All RVs are going to be slightly different, and this is also for a through frame Lippert hydraulic slide system. So we're talking about hydraulic slides from Lippert. Now luckily for us, somebody from Grand Design was thinking on this one. Inside our storage bay for our LP container, this is the driver's side, the door side of the RV, the side that would have your main entrance door on it. There's an IRC control up inside here. It stands for individual room control. So basically what's going to happen is typically when you open up your slides, you may press a button or go to your one control and press a button, something like that. Both slides are going to come out. What's happening behind the scenes is there's hydraulic fluid applying pressure to both sides, and we're going to open both of them up. The IRC controller in here, basically there's just two knobs and one for each slide. So what we can do is we can actually turn off one slide, the side that we don't want to open up. Go ahead and press our controller or our switch, whatever we happen to have, open up the other slide. Now this takes care of the problem that Dina and I have. I can leave the slide with on the sewer side, the off door side, we can leave that closed, open up this side, and that's way Dina can get inside and work or get what she needs to get done. I can get the sewer hoses all hooked up and everything else. Once I'm all done, all I have to do is change the knobs again and hit the button, and we can open up the other side. Let me show you how we're going to do that. As you can see, we have our IRC controller. We have the two valves right here, or knobs. I went ahead and labeled ours. This is the off door side. So this would be the side that has your sewage, your Nautilus system, your electricity. Door side, again, this is the main entrance door to your RV. This is actually backwards from what the manual said, so you may have to check yours out just to verify. All we're going to do is I want to leave the off door side closed while the door side opens up. This is my off door side. I am just going to turn this knob clockwise. What I'm really doing is I'm closing this, so hydraulic power will not come to this side or not activate or extend this side. Okay, I probably turn that maybe 2 times and it's fully closed. Again, it's just finger tight. Now all we have to do, we'll go inside, activate our slides, and only the door side slide should open up. So let's go inside and give it a try. Now we have a switch that we use all the time for our slides. So I'm going to go ahead and activate the switch, and let's just see what happens. So now you can see we activated our slides. Just the door slide opened up. The off door side is still closed. Now what we can do is open up our off door side and open that up as well. This would be done after I connected the sewer hoses. Even some other possible cases, if maybe you're in like a Walmart parking lot, you're in a tight spot, you need to get into one side of your RV or into part of your RV, you could open up one slide only. So this does come in handy. Let's go ahead and activate our off door side and get that one open as well. And all we are going to do is open this back up. Now these are both open. When I activate this, this side is already out, so this side should come out as well. Extend. As I activate this button, now you can see the off door side is extended as well. As you can see, that's a very, very simple process. With just a turn of a knob, it really helps us out on setup. So I can be outside setting everything up. I can leave that off door side closed. I don't have to worry about hitting my head. I don't have to crawl on my hands and knees. We can let the door side slide out. Dina can get into the RV and start doing any prep work she needs to do as well. Once I am done with everything on the outside, I open up this valve again, go back inside and hit the switch, and the other side will open up as well. So very, very simple, but it does save us some headache and crawling around. The other part of that is maybe you're in a Walmart parking lot or you're in a tight situation on a travel day. Maybe you need to get into the RV for something. You could do the same process. Just open up one slide, get in there and close it back up again. Very simple. The other thing I want to talk about though is what happens on travel days when you're getting ready to leave and you lost complete power. How do you get your slides back in so you can travel? This is a little bit more, I guess you had to follow some steps a little bit more precisely. You have to know, you're gonna have to get down on your hands and knees probably, but this is in an emergency situation. When you run out of power, how do you get your slides in? So now let's talk about what happens on travel day. You're getting ready to leave. By chance, you've lost complete power. So it's kind of an emergency situation. Both of your slides are out or all your slides are out. What do you do in that situation? Now, first off, this does require a couple of tools. This is a 5/32 Allen key. We're going to end up using this. This is going to go into one of our valves. A cordless drill. And a bit. Now this bit is really, it's just like a Phillips or maybe a standard screwdriver bit. But the important thing is we want to take this and we're going to insert this the opposite way into our drill. And we're going to use the back end of this. We'll talk about this in a second, but this is going to go into the hydraulic motor to operate the motor. Now, before we get into all that, there's a couple things just to be aware of. You know, how does this really work? If you want to think about it, this hydraulic system, there's something in there, in our particular case, is in the front bay area. It's called a valve manifold. If you want to think about it, it's kind of like a central hub where all the hydraulic lines come to, and by turning valves on or off, or opening and closing the valves, we can apply pressure or hydraulic fluid to certain subsystems. In this particular case, we're talking about our slides. So that's called the manifold or the valve manifold. Now, on top on that manifold, you also have valves or something that will open and close, allow hydraulic fluid to either go somewhere or stop it. We're going to talk about the one, in our particular case, is in the top right of the manifold, and it's the slide valve. We need to manually override that, and as we didn't have electricity, we need to open that up and be able, so we can apply hydraulic fluid to our slides. Okay, there's also a pressure regulator in the manifold as well, but we're not going to deal with that. So we've lost power, it's a travel day, we need to get our slides in. There's a couple steps, I'll talk about the steps and then we'll actually go through it. We need to find our valve manifold. Now on our particular case, it is in the front, the battery compartment of the RV on the door side up a little bit high. We need to find the manifold. We need to find the valve for the slides. Again, in our particular case, it's going to be in the top right corner of the manifold. So we need to find that. We also need to find our IRC valves, what we just kind of went through earlier. If you want to override one side or not, those were in our front LP gas door side compartment. Up in there, remember we had the two little valves, door side and off door side. So those are the things that we're going to be dealing with. Now I'll kind of walk through what's going to happen. First thing we have to do is to get to our slide valve. We're going to take this 5/32 Allen wrench and we need to open it up. Okay, it's only going to take about a turn and a half. And you want to be gentle with this. Again, it's just finger, thumb tight. We don't want to gorilla anything. Just we want to be gentle with this. But we're going to open this valve up. Now what that does is it allows hydraulic fluid to get to our slides. Okay, so that's step number one. Another thing we need to do is we are going to close one of our slides. We're only going to deal with one slide at a time. It doesn't matter which one. We'll just close one and go from there. Now, once we do that, we've opened up our valve. We closed off one slide. Now what we need to do is to take our cordless drill. We're going to insert this into the hydraulic motor and we're actually going to rotate this or turn this counterclockwise, like unscrewing. What that will do is that will basically turn the motor the correct way to retract the slides. So those are the basic steps, so let's go ahead and try it out. This is our valve manifold that we were just talking about. This is the actual valve for our slides, and this is the pressure valve we were talking about as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get a 5/32 Allen key in here, turn this clockwise to open it, and that's step number one. Okay, so we're going to open this. It's going to be about just over a turn and a half. And that's it. So the hard part about this is just getting the Allen key back in here. These wires do move some, but you do have to be a little bit careful. So now that we have our slide valve open, step number two is to come back to our IRC valve and let's close off one of our slides. I'm going to go ahead and close the off door side. Once we isolated one of our slides, it was just a matter of inserting our bit into the top of the hydraulic motor, using our cordless drill and a counterclockwise rotation, and just start drilling. Now one thing I was careful with, there's a couple hydraulic lines that was right next to the drill. So I just want to make sure the drill, the rotating part of the drill wasn't hitting my hydraulic lines and, you know, potentially rubbing on them and maybe creating a weak spot. So I did watch out for that. Other than that, it was pretty straightforward. It was just a matter of drilling long enough to get the slides all the way in. Now that we got this slide in, what we're going to do is go back to our IRC controllers. We're going to close the valve for this side, open up the valve for the opposite side, and repeat the process. Now just something to be aware of, this took about 5 minutes of drilling to get the slide to come in. I did have to kind of stop and get out and look to see how far the slide was. I did that 3 or 4 times, so this would definitely be a lot easier with 2 people. Somebody can drill, somebody can watch the slide and notify the person who's drilling once the slide is in. So we're just going to repeat the process. We're going to close the valve on this side and open up the valve on the other side. So now our door slide is closed, our off door side is open. We're going to repeat the process and start the manual process all over again. Okay, we got both of our slides in. This one took about 3 or 4 minutes of drilling to get the slide all the way in. It's a pretty straightforward process once you do it one time. Honestly, this is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while because I've always worried a little bit. What do I do if my slides are broken? I can't get them in. This is one option you have to get your slides in for a travel day. Now we're not quite 100% done. There's still a couple things we need to tidy up a little bit. Remember on the manifold, the valve manifold, we manually screwed in or opened up the slide valve. We want to make sure we put that back the way it was. We're going to unscrew that as well. Then also on our IRC controllers, right now both slides are closed. So we're going to open those up to get everything back to the way we started. Hopefully this helps you out a little bit, gives you some ideas on maybe if you do lose power and you get your hydraulic slides back in. This is one option you may have to hopefully save the day and get your slides in for you. Remember, always live life to the fullest.